Alhamdulillah, in the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful, may peace and blessings be upon our beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. My beloved brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. In the quiet moments of your life, when the world feels distant, when your heart feels heavy, you wonder, does anyone see my pain? Does anyone truly know the weight of my silence? In that solitude, there is a divine presence whispering to your soul, reminding you, you are never truly alone. Allah is closer to you than your jugular vein. He sees your tears before they even fall. He knows the words that remain unspoken, the prayers you whisper in the dark. Love you. And you feel abandoned. Remember, Allah's plan is working behind the scenes in ways you cannot yet comprehend. The moments of waiting, of longing, of unanswered questions are shaping your heart, refining your soul, preparing you for the blessings that only He can bestow. Allah says in Surah Al-Baqarah, Burr A, D, it may be that you dislike a thing which is good for you and that you like a thing which is bad for you. Allah knows while you know not. Why? Our heart's restlessness, your feelings of despair are part of His greater wisdom. Your pain is not a punishment. Your loneliness is not a reflection of failure. It is the language of your soul calling you back to your Creator. Sabr, patience in its truest form, is not merely enduring. This is what Sabr truly means. Leaning into Allah's decree with trust, allowing your heart to soften, letting the heaviness of life remind you of His infinite mercy. Each tear, each sigh, each quiet night is a step closer to the inner peace that can only be found through surrender. In the moments when your heart aches, speak to Allah. Speak even when words fail. Remember, the Prophet taught us, dua, whispered from the depths of your soul, reaches Allah before it reaches anyone else. Let the remembrance of Allah fill the void the world cannot. He is the cure for every wound, the companion for every lonely path, the healer for every broken place within you. Turn your solitude into a sanctuary. Allow hope to rise like the dawn, even after nights of despair. Trust that what is written for you is greater than what you can imagine. Forgive yourself for the moments of doubt and forgive the world for the moments that hurt you. Allah says in Surah Ash-Shah, indeed, with hardship will be ease. Your heart's heaviness is a prelude to its lightness. Your silence is a prelude to your peace. You are never alone, even when you feel unseen, even when your tears are private. Allah is shaping your life with wisdom, love, and mercy beyond what your heart can hold. Lean into Him, trust His timing, let your soul find rest in His presence. Your loneliness is a reminder of His closeness. Every heartbeat is a whisper of His love. True loneliness is a feeling that often goes beyond the absence of people around us. It is not simply being physically alone, rather, it is the sense of emptiness in the heart, the quiet ache of feeling unseen or unheard, even when surrounded by others. In these moments, the soul longs for connection, but not just with anyone. It craves a deeper, more meaningful bond, one that transcends the fleeting nature of human interaction. This is where the heart realizes that what it truly seeks is closeness to Allah. The people around us can offer companionship, comfort, and love, yet only Allah can fill the spiritual void within. The Prophet reminded us that no matter how distant we may feel from the world, Allah is always nearer to us than our own jugular vein, watching over our hearts and knowing our inner thoughts. Loneliness then becomes a powerful reminder to turn inward, to reflect, and to reach for that eternal presence that never leaves us. In solitude, we are invited to pour our hearts into sincere dua, to whisper our fears and our hopes, and to let the remembrance of Allah soften the heaviness that rests upon our shoulders. It is in these private moments that our connection with our Creator can deepen, for He is attentive to the silence we cannot express to anyone else. Every tear shed in solitude, every sigh of longing is witnessed by Him, and in His infinite wisdom, He transforms these feelings of emptiness into an opportunity for spiritual growth. The heart begins to understand that being truly alone is not a punishment, but a chance to recognize the companionship that surpasses all others. The unwavering presence of Allah, who is always ready to embrace the heart that turns toward Him. Feeling abandoned or neglected is one of the heaviest burdens the heart can carry, yet within this struggle lies a profound invitation from Allah to turn inward and seek Him. When the world seems distant and the people we rely on feel absent, it is a reminder that our ultimate source of comfort and support is not created beings, but our Creator Himself. The heart is a mirror, and in times of solitude or perceived abandonment, it reflects the depth of our need for divine closeness. Every moment of feeling unseen, unheard, or forgotten is an opportunity to redirect our gaze toward the one who never forsakes, who never sleeps, and whose mercy encompasses everything. The Prophet taught that even when people turn away, Allah remains attentive, responsive, and near to the believer, especially in moments of distress. These periods of isolation encourage a shift from dependence on the temporary and fallible support of others to reliance on Allah's infinite presence and wisdom. In solitude, the heart learns to speak directly to Him without distraction, without hesitation, allowing vulnerability to become a bridge to spiritual intimacy. What feels like abandonment is often a test and a refinement, shaping the soul to trust in the divine plan beyond human understanding. The quiet spaces of loneliness become sacred spaces where dua rises freely, where the heart's longing for love, security, and understanding is met fully by Allah's all-encompassing care. By embracing this inward journey, the believer discovers that true strength and comfort are not found in the approval or attention of others, but in surrendering to Allah's presence, trusting His timing, and finding solace in His eternal companionship, which remains steadfast, even when the world seems to turn away. Life often presents us with situations that feel confusing, overwhelming, or unfair, and in these moments, it is easy to question whether Allah's plan is truly at work. Yet, Islam teaches us that Allah's wisdom is beyond human comprehension, and what may seem like chaos or misfortune is often part of a greater design that we cannot yet perceive. Every twist and turn in life, every delay, every unanswered prayer carries a purpose, even if it is hidden from our immediate understanding. The heart may grow restless when blessings do not arrive in the timing we hope for, when doors remain closed, or when dreams seem distant. But these moments are opportunities for the soul to deepen its trust in Allah and to recognize that His knowledge encompasses everything, past, present, and future. Allah reminds us in Surah Al-Imran, indeed, Allah is over all things competent. This competence is not limited to what we can see or measure. It extends to the subtle ways He orchestrates events, protects us from harm, and prepares us for what is truly good. Often, what we perceive as a setback or loss is, in truth, a form of divine protection, guiding us away from what may have harmed us or preparing us for a better path we cannot yet imagine. Patience and reflection allow us to recognize that the unseen threads of Allah's plan are intricately woven into every aspect of our lives. The believer learns to trust that even the moments of uncertainty, the pauses in life, and the challenges that test our hearts are all expressions of Allah's mercy, designed to refine our character, strengthen our faith, and lead us toward outcomes that are far greater than anything we could have planned for ourselves. Patience, or sabr, is one of the most profound virtues a believer can cultivate, yet it is often misunderstood as merely waiting or enduring hardship silently. In truth, sabr is an active, conscious engagement of the heart with Allah's wisdom, a surrender to His timing, and a trust that His plan is perfect even when our understanding is limited. It is in the moments of difficulty, when life feels heavy, when our hearts ache, and when our prayers seem unanswered, that the practice of true patience reveals its transformative power. Sabr is not passive. It is the strength to maintain faith when the world around us seems uncertain, the courage to continue striving for goodness while leaving the outcomes in Allah's hands, and the ability to find serenity amidst turmoil. The Prophet taught that those who exercise patience are granted rewards beyond measure, and that Allah is with those who persevere with sincerity and trust. Every challenge, every delay, and every test carries within it an opportunity for growth, for the heart to expand in its reliance on the Creator, and for the soul to find a depth of resilience it never knew it possessed. Sabr shapes the believer's character, teaching humility, gratitude, and the recognition that our control is limited while Allah's wisdom is infinite. Through patience, we learn to embrace uncertainty as a space where Allah's guidance can manifest in ways beyond our imagination. It allows the heart to remain anchored even in the storms of life, fostering a connection to Allah that is steady and enduring. The practice of sabr transforms suffering into strength, anxiety into trust, and despair into hope. In every trial, the believer who embraces patience discovers that hardship is not an end, but a passage, a means through which the soul draws closer to Allah, and a reminder that His mercy and guidance are always present, quietly shaping our lives for our ultimate good. Divine timing is one of the most delicate lessons the heart must learn, yet it is often the most misunderstood. Human beings naturally desire immediacy. We want our prayers answered now, our goals achieved quickly, and our lives to align with our own expectations. Yet, Allah's timing is perfect, and it operates on a level far beyond our comprehension. What we perceive as delays, pauses, or setbacks are often moments in which Allah is preparing us, refining our hearts, or protecting us from what we cannot yet see. Trusting in divine timing requires the heart to release its grasp on certainty and surrender to the knowledge that Allah sees the bigger picture far beyond the horizon of our limited vision. In Surah Al-An'am, Allah reminds us, He knows what is before them and what is behind them, while they encompass not a thing of His knowledge. Our inability to see the full scope of His plan does not diminish its perfection. It only calls us to deepen our reliance on Him. Every unanswered prayer, every closed door, every season of waiting is infused with wisdom, even if it is hidden from our immediate understanding. The believer learns that the discomfort of waiting is not wasted time. It is a space for spiritual growth, for the cultivation of patience, for the strengthening of faith, and for preparing the heart to receive blessings in a manner and timing far better than we could have imagined. When we surrender to Allah's timing, we allow ourselves to move from anxiety to trust, from restlessness to contentment, and from doubt to certainty in His mercy. Divine timing teaches us humility, encourages us to seek closeness to Allah, and reminds us that life unfolds not according to our schedules, but according to the perfect orchestration of our Creator, who knows exactly when our hearts are ready to receive what is meant for them. Every trial we face carries within it a wisdom that may remain hidden in the present moment. Yet it is part of Allah's infinite knowledge and mercy. Human hearts often struggle with understanding why hardship arrives, why dreams are delayed, or why pain lingers, but Islam teaches us that every difficulty is purposeful, even when the reason is not immediately clear. These challenges are shaping our character, refining our patience, and drawing us closer to Allah. The Prophet reminded us that no believer is afflicted with harm, fatigue, sadness, or grief without it being a means of purification or elevation in the sight of Allah. Every test, no matter how heavy, is a subtle opportunity to cleanse the heart of attachment to the temporary, to detach from the illusions of control, and to strengthen reliance on the eternal. In moments of struggle, it is easy to focus on the visible suffering, yet those who reflect with faith see that each hardship is layered with unseen benefits. Pain softens the soul, making it more receptive to mercy and gratitude. Challenges awaken the heart to its dependence on Allah, encouraging sincere dua, remembrance, and trust in His wisdom. Sometimes the very difficulty that feels unbearable protects us from outcomes we cannot foresee, guiding us toward a path better suited for our growth and ultimate good. Surah Al-Baqarah reminds us, Allah does not burden a soul beyond that it can bear. This assurance calls the believer to reflect, to trust, and to seek meaning beyond the surface of their trials. Every hardship, every waiting period, every moment of uncertainty is not random. It is intentional, a divine mechanism through which the heart learns, the spirit matures, and the believer is prepared for the blessings that lie ahead, often in ways far more profound than we could have imagined. The emptiness that we sometimes feel in our hearts is not a void meant to punish us, but an invitation to turn toward remembrance of Allah, the one who alone can truly fill it. Human beings often search for fulfillment in relationships, achievements, or material possessions, yet these are fleeting and cannot satisfy the deepest longings of the soul. It is in moments of quiet reflection, when the heart feels hollow or restless, that we are reminded of our innate need for connection with our Creator. The Prophet taught that the heart becomes restless until it finds peace in the remembrance of Allah, and in this restlessness lies an opportunity for spiritual awakening. When we engage in dhikr, silently or aloud, we bring the soul into alignment with its true source, allowing the divine presence to soothe the aches and the longings that worldly attachments cannot touch. Every sigh, every moment of solitude is a chance to whisper to Allah the secrets of our hearts, to pour out our fears, regrets, and hopes, knowing that He is attentive, loving, and infinitely merciful. The heart that turns to Allah in its emptiness begins to feel a sense of completeness that no worldly distraction can offer. In Surah Al-Ra'd, Allah says, "Those who have believed and whose hearts are assured by the remembrance of Allah." Unquestionably, by the remembrance of Allah, hearts are assured. This assurance is a profound comfort, a reminder that the inner void is not a sign of weakness, but a pathway to spiritual intimacy. The act of remembering Allah fills the soul gradually, transforming loneliness into closeness, longing into contentment, and despair into hope. The emptiness is not meant to isolate. It is meant to draw the heart nearer, to remind us that true fulfillment is found in the nearness of Allah and the cultivation of a soul anchored in His love and remembrance. Pain and heartbreak are experiences that touch the deepest parts of our being. Yet within these trials lies an invitation to surrender fully to Allah, the most merciful and wise. When the heart feels broken or life seems heavy with disappointment, it is natural to seek answers, to yearn for relief, or to question why hardship has arrived. Islam teaches us that these moments are not without purpose. They are opportunities for the soul to turn inward, to rely entirely on Allah, and to recognize that true healing comes from Him alone. The Prophet taught that no one suffers harm without it being a means of elevation or purification. And He, believer, learns that surrender is not a sign of weakness, but of profound strength. When we allow ourselves to surrender, we release the need to control outcomes, trusting instead in Allah's infinite wisdom and timing. Heartbreak, loss, and pain can act as mirrors, reflecting the attachments we place on this temporary world and inviting us to seek permanence in our connection with the Creator. Every tear shed, every moment of grief is a step towards spiritual growth, a softening of the heart that allows divine guidance to enter more fully. Through surrender, the believer transforms anguish into a source of closeness to Allah, understanding that He alone can fill the void left by worldly disappointment. Patience and dua become tools of resilience, and the heart learns to rest even when circumstances are turbulent. Pain, then, is not merely a trial to endure. It is a pathway to spiritual intimacy. A reminder that while the world may hurt, Allah's mercy is limitless, His presence unwavering, and His love capable of healing every wound that seems too deep for the heart to bear. The journey through suffering becomes a journey back to the one who never abandons, guiding the soul toward peace, trust, and enduring faith. The soul's longing for closeness to Allah is deeper and more persistent than any desire for worldly attachments. While humans may seek comfort, recognition, or love from people, these are fleeting and often imperfect, leaving the heart still yearning for something greater. The true fulfillment of the soul cannot be found in possessions, status, or even relationships because it was created to seek connection with its Creator. This innate desire is a divine gift, guiding the believer toward what is eternal and true. When the heart turns toward Allah, it begins to recognize that all other attachments are temporary and limited in their capacity to satisfy inner longing. The Prophet taught that the heart will never find true peace until it rests in the remembrance of Allah. And this is why the soul feels an unending pull toward the one who knows it intimately, the one who shaped it with care and precision. In moments of worship, dua, or reflection, the soul experiences a taste of completeness, a deep sense of alignment with its purpose, and a reassurance that it is exactly where it was meant to be. Even in times of trial, the heart that seeks Allah finds solace, because closeness to Him is a refuge that no worldly circumstance can take away. This spiritual hunger is a reminder that our deepest needs are not for external validation, but for divine connection. And it encourages us to cultivate habits that nurture this relationship through prayer, remembrance, and sincere devotion. As the believer turns inward, letting go of reliance on temporary sources of comfort, the soul begins to experience a profound sense of freedom and fulfillment, discovering that its ultimate home, its true source of love, contentment, and security has always been with Allah, who is ever near, ever merciful, and eternally sustaining. Forgiveness is one of the most profound acts of spiritual healing, and it begins within the heart of the believer. Often, when we experience pain, betrayal, or disappointment, our instinct is to hold on to resentment or blame, thinking that it protects us or affirms our suffering. Yet Islam teaches that carrying such burdens only weighs the soul down, preventing it from experiencing true peace and closeness to Allah. The act of forgiveness, first toward oneself and then toward others, is an expression of reliance on Allah's justice and mercy. When we forgive, we acknowledge that ultimate control and judgment belong to Him alone, and we release the grip of anger, bitterness, or regret that can obscure our spirit. You will vision. The Prophet demonstrated through his life that forgiveness is not weakness but a means of elevating the soul, allowing the heart to remain soft, open, and receptive to divine guidance. Forgiving oneself for mistakes or perceived failures is equally crucial, for without self-compassion, the heart remains trapped in cycles of guilt and self-reproach, unable to fully embrace Allah's mercy. When the believer forgives, a transformation occurs. The weight of pain is lifted, clarity emerges, and the heart becomes a vessel capable of deeper love, gratitude, and spiritual connection. In moments of reflection, dua, and remembrance, the act of forgiveness allows the soul to release attachments to what has hurt it, understanding that Allah's plan encompasses wisdom beyond human comprehension. By choosing forgiveness, the heart aligns itself with divine mercy, nurtures inner resilience, and cultivates an environment where spiritual growth can flourish. The process of letting go, surrendering pain, and trusting Allah with justice and recompense frees the believer from the chains of resentment, opening the way for healing, serenity, and a more profound connection to the one who alone can truly fill the heart. Hope is not merely a fleeting emotion or a wish for better circumstances. In Islam, it is an act of worship, a profound expression of faith in Allah's mercy and wisdom. When life feels uncertain, when trials seem endless, or when the heart is heavy with despair, hope becomes the bridge between our vulnerability and the assurance of divine care. The believer understands that no matter how dark the night may seem, Allah's light is never far, and His plan is always unfolding, even in ways that are invisible to human perception. Surah Zumar reminds us, say, "O my servants who have transgressed against themselves by sinning, do not despair of the mercy of Allah. Indeed, Allah forgives all sins. Indeed, it is He who is the forgiving, the merciful." This verse embodies the essence of hope, trusting that regardless of our mistakes, hardships, or losses, Allah's mercy is greater than all. Hope encourages the heart to continue striving, to keep making dua, and to maintain patience, even when circumstances appear stagnant or adverse. It shifts focus from despair to trust, from anxiety to surrender, and from fear to courage. Every moment in which the believer holds on to hope becomes a spiritual act, strengthening faith and deepening reliance on Allah. It is hope that allows the heart to persevere through setbacks, to see opportunities in trials, and to recognize that divine wisdom governs outcomes in ways we cannot always predict. By nurturing hope, the believer aligns with Allah's infinite mercy, acknowledging that every closed door, every delay, and every challenge is a prelude to a blessing that may be even greater than imagined. Hope is the light that illuminates the path of the soul back to Allah, a reminder that surrendering to Him does not mean giving up, but rather trusting fully in the one whose knowledge, power, and compassion are boundless, and whose love for high creation surpasses all understanding. Inner peace is not found in external circumstances, wealth, or the approval of others. It is cultivated through a deep and unwavering reliance on Allah. The heart often seeks comfort in the material world, in relationships, or in achievements. Yet these sources are fleeting and cannot provide lasting tranquility. True serenity emerges when the believer turns inward, grounding the soul in the presence of Allah, trusting His wisdom, and accepting that everything unfolds according to His divine decree. In moments of chaos, uncertainty, or emotional turmoil, the soul that relies on Allah experiences a stability that no worldly condition can disturb. Surah Al-Ra'd reminds us, "Those who have believed and whose hearts are assured by the remembrance of Allah." Unquestionably, by the remembrance of Allah, hearts are assured. This assurance is a profound source of peace, reminding us that the turbulence of life does not diminish Allah's care or His proximity. The believer learns to detach from excessive worry about what cannot be controlled, finding instead a sense of calm in knowing that Allah orchestrates every detail with perfect knowledge and wisdom. Inner peace grows when the heart embraces patience, gratitude, and trust, even in the face of adversity, and when it consistently seeks Allah's guidance through prayer, reflection, and remembrance. It is the quiet confidence that comes from surrendering outcomes to the one who knows what is best, and the willingness to accept life's trials as opportunities for growth and spiritual elevation. When the heart rests in Allah's presence, it no longer chases the illusion of stability in a changing world. It finds an unshakable calm, rooted in the eternal, the infinite, and the merciful. This inner serenity nurtures clarity, resilience, and hope, allowing the believer to navigate life with grace and strength, anchored firmly in the awareness that ultimate peace belongs to those who place their trust fully in Allah. The journey back to Allah begins with honesty, the courage to confront our own hearts and acknowledge the struggles, doubts, and weaknesses that we often hide from ourselves and the world. The human soul is complex, filled with desires, regrets, fears, and moments of confusion. Yet Islam teaches that this very complexity is what allows for growth, transformation, and closeness to the Creator. When we stop pretending, when we stop masking our pain or pretending that our faith is flawless, we create space for divine guidance to enter. Turning to Allah requires humility, A recognition that we cannot navigate life's challenges alone, and that true strength comes from reliance on Him. The Prophet reminded us that Allah is closer than our jugular vein, listening to our unspoken words, our silent prayers, and the longings of our hearts. By facing ourselves honestly, we align our intentions, purify our hearts, and open the door to spiritual renewal. The journey back is not always linear. It involves moments of struggle, self-reflection, and repentance. Yet every step taken with sincerity brings the soul closer to peace, contentment, and divine mercy. In these moments, dua becomes a lifeline, remembrance, dhikr, a source of comfort and patience, sabr, a companion that strengthens resolve. The heart learns that turning to Allah is not a sign of weakness, but a profound acknowledgement of His wisdom and care. Every act of honesty, every moment of sincere intention allows the believer to shed burdens, release attachments to what distracts from faith, and embrace a life rooted in divine connection. The soul's journey back to Allah is a transformative process where struggles become lessons, mistakes become catalysts for growth, and every moment of reflection brings clarity, guidance, and a deepening awareness that Allah's love and mercy are always present, patiently awaiting the return of the heart that seeks Him sincerely. Remembering Allah in moments of solitude is one of the most profound ways to strengthen faith and build resilience within the heart. Human beings often feel most vulnerable when alone, when the noise and distractions of the world fade and we are left with our thoughts, fears, and doubts. It is in these quiet moments that the soul can either sink into despair or rise in remembrance of its Creator. Islam teaches that the heart that turns to Allah in solitude is never truly empty, for His presence fills every void, soothes every ache, and brings clarity to the confusion that clouds the mind. The Prophet taught that even a private act of worship, a quiet dua, or a whispered remembrance is heard and cherished by Allah. This sacred connection allows the believer to cultivate inner strength, patience, and hope, even when external circumstances feel overwhelming. Through dhikr, prayer, and reflection, the heart becomes anchored in divine awareness, learning to trust Allah's plan, surrender to His timing, and embrace the lessons within hardship. Solitude becomes a space for spiritual nourishment, a sanctuary where the soul can confront its fears, release its burdens, and realign its intentions toward what is eternal. Surah Al-Baqarah reminds us that those who believe and whose hearts find comfort in the remembrance of Allah experience true reassurance that transcends the fleeting comforts of the world. By making remembrance a daily practice, even in isolation, the believer strengthens the connection to Allah, finds resilience against despair, and nurtures a peace that cannot be shaken by life's trials. The heart gradually learns that being alone is not a punishment, but a divine opportunity, a chance to grow closer to Allah, to listen to the whispers of the soul, and to allow His mercy, guidance, and love to become the foundation of a life rooted in faith, trust, and spirit. Tool, strength.